There are a lot of reasons to be excited about Bitcoin. It's going to change a whole lot of stuff, arguably anything that has anything to do with money, which is kind of everything. And even if you think money is kind of a dirty word, money is the root of all evil, and we should just do away with the idea in general, just think of it in terms of the concepts of value and exchange. There's nothing inherently bad about the idea of value and valuing something, which of course is subjective. Different people value different things differently, which is why at different points we want to exchange them. If we didn't have subjective valuations of things, then in every exchange, somebody would be getting ripped off and somebody would be getting the better deal. But because people value things differently, both people can walk away from an exchange better off. And that's kind of incredible. It's like creating value out of thin air. So Bitcoin is going to allow us to use those concepts, the idea of value and exchange, in a frictionless worldwide way. Nowadays, you either have to be in person and exchange cash, or be over the internet and trust a third party that's going to charge you fees and will not let you send money to certain people. That lack of friction, I think, is going to make bounties particularly viable as a way for funding the development of free and open source software. So how does software development happen normally? Well, normally there's a company and they invest in the potential payoff of building software that people will be willing to pay for. They can't really know for sure if people are going to be willing to pay for it. They just have to say, like, we honestly think there's a lot of value in this and we want to make money off of it, so we're going to pay developers, keep the source closed so that no one can get it without going through us. And when the software is finished, you put it on the market and see if people are willing to pay for it. And hope that nobody cracks your program so that people can run it without having paid you first. It's not the best system, both because there's so much risk involved, and also because then, say the company goes out of business. No one can use your software anymore, and the software doesn't get updated, and the software doesn't get maintained, because the code is not publicly available for anyone who would want to fix it, even for free, and there's nobody to pay to get it done. With Bitcoin, I think that funding software development via bounties will become not just viable, but potentially the norm, like the way software development happens and the way most software developers get paid. Nowadays, let's say you're using a program and you run into a bug, and you're like, oh, it crashed whenever I do this. And you go in the forums and you ask people about it. One person maybe had the same problem and couldn't fix it, or someone else says, I had the same issue and this company has been totally ignoring it because only 1% of users have it and it's just not profitable for them to fix it. It's an enormous pain. With open source software, you can, go to the GitHub and raise an issue, but the same problem is arguably still there. If it's not worth someone's time to do it, they're not going to do it. Now, it might be worth someone's time to do it just because they're such a nice person, but you can't rely on that. You can't rely on people being nice. You can hope for people being nice. You can argue that everyone should strive to be nice, but at the same time, you can't necessarily rely on it. What you could do instead is start a bounty. You can say, I have this problem, and I'm willing to throw $5 at someone who's able to solve it. Is a developer going to say, ooh, $5, I'm going to spend 5 hours figuring out the bug that might just be platform specific or some really unique situation for this user? Probably not. But what that allows for is then someone else to Google search and be like, I'm having this problem. Oh, someone else is having this problem too. And they didn't get it solved, but they started a bounty. They started a bounty and they were willing to pay $5 to have it fixed. I'm also willing to pay $5 to have it fixed. So I'm going to contribute $5 to this bounty. It's entirely possible that there will be people for whom it is entirely worth $10 to spend 5 hours of their time, because $10 might feed their family for a week, because anyone in the entire world will be able to claim this bounty. So it might be the case that once you hit $10, bam, someone fixes the bug. But even if not, that bounty stays open. The next person that has the same issue can then say, I want to throw $1 at it. I want to throw 50 cents at it. I want to throw a penny at it. Doesn't matter, because you can do those things with Bitcoin. And if enough people throw pennies at it, it becomes worth it for someone to do the work. So that kind of bounty system, I think, has a lot of potential for making free and open source software the main way that developers find work. They'll look for bounties and decide at any given moment whether the bounty on fixing a certain bug or a certain issue or building a feature is worth it to them. And if it is, they will build it, and then the code is out there. Instead of building something and hoping someone's going to pay you to release it to them in your restricted closed source way, you just say you've already done your job and been paid for it, and the entire world then gets the benefit from it. It may be obvious, though, that it will not be trivial to build a system by which a bounty market like that could exist, because it will require someone to decide when a bounty has been filled, and that would require some trusted party, right? Someone who we've decided is accurately going to say when a bounty was fulfilled and make sure to release it to the correct person who provided the solution. But that's not a bad thing necessarily. What that means is that a market will have to emerge for different services where one can place a bounty. And if one service tends to do a bad job making sure that the bounty gets released to the appropriate individual who actually did the work, then people will stop placing bounties there, because developers will stop filling bounties there because they won't know for sure whether they're going to get paid for the work they do. So as much as we tend to run screaming at the idea of a trusted third party, there's nothing inherently wrong with the idea of a trusted third party as long as we recognize that that's what we're doing. You can't just trust someone for no good reason. They have to build up a reputation and then be able to be held accountable for not doing their job. As long as there isn't a monopoly on providing the network through which people can place and claim bounties, things will be all right. Or at least better than they are now.
I know. You want to talk about Bitcoin? No?